What's up, everybody? Welcome back, Dudes Who Bet Daily, August 10th, 2023. We got Del Mar, we got Saratoga, and we got a, I'll say, mediocre baseball slate today, Aaron. A lot of big favorites in Major League Baseball today.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not that great of a slate today, but it is Thursday. That kind of is the meh type of day. It's travel day for a lot of these teams, and then a couple start a 4-game series. But it is kind of the worst day, Mondays and Thursdays. So, but you know what? There's some teams that really need wins that are big favorites. So let's see if they get it done.
Speaking of teams who really need wins, how about the Reds start playing some decent baseball? That would be nice.
That I tell you what, I that one yesterday was really disheartening to blow a 4-1 lead. And, you know, you look back at kind of how the Reds, how they've kind of started to go backwards. It's mainly because their bullpen has not been great like it was the first part of the season. Yes, the bats have slowed down, but they've blown, I think, now 6 games after leading after 7 innings since the All-Star break, 5 or 6. So, yeah, that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, we got some quick comments here in Saratoga, so we'll talk a little bit about those. There's a match race in the 7th, the 1A and the 3, the only 2 left after we take the race off the turf. So we'll see what happens there. Should be interesting. And Kevin B., worst Saratoga meet since when? 3 years ago was really brutal with the rain. But you didn't have all these other ancillary issues. It's funny. I was joking before the show. I wanted to take something goes wrong at Saratoga plus 100 is my best bet of the day, but I couldn't find anyone who would line it.
You know, yeah, that's the funny thing. If you're going to take something goes wrong like Saratoga, you're probably not getting plus 100. You know, now that I think about that more, Somich, I can't give it to you. I told you right before the show, yeah, go ahead, you take that. And I thought, no, that's probably more like minus 180. Right. It's the worst I can remember. Yeah, the rain is one thing, and off the turf is one thing, but boy, all the other stuff that's happening, it's just, it's brutal. And it hurts because that's such an important meet, not only to me and to you, but to a lot of people, you know, and to be dealing with this, I don't know. But you know what? The first half of the meet's over. The second half meet starts today. Maybe we'll have 20 days of smoothness. I doubt it, but maybe.
The other big story inside the horse racing world yesterday, Stronach Group comes out and says they want to move the Preakness back 2 weeks. And Nair's response is, well, we're going to keep the Belmont where it is. So we may have a Derby, a Preakness in 4 weeks, and the Belmont a week after that. That would make the Triple Crown extremely difficult, wouldn't you think?
I am not going to comment on the spacing of the Triple Crown, but I will say this. It would be the most horse racing thing maybe ever of all time. They would outdo themselves for the greatest degree if they move the Preakness and they don't move the Belmont, effectively ending the Triple Crown. It would be incredible. We've talked about this on this channel for 10 years. When you have all these entities working in different directions and nobody's working together, this is what you get. This could be an epic disaster if it happens, and I wouldn't be shocked if it does happen.
Of course, Naira doesn't want to move it. I mean, they got the sweetheart deal here when you look at it, right? When you get 5 weeks between the Derby and the Belmont, you've got all those turf races, the horses that run back on Belmont Day after running on Derby Day. And this year specifically, you saw it top to bottom. The Preakness card was much weaker than the undercards at the Belmont or the Derby. I understand why Stronach wants to make the move. You would think that Belmont would just say, cool, we'll just flip Stars and Stripes Racing, move that forward and move the Belmont back. But of course, logic will not prevail here.
That seems to be what it is. It would kind of, you know, maybe mess up their schedule a little bit for like Jim Dandy Travers, but I don't think it really would to a big degree. It might mess up the Haskell. That'd kind of suck for it. But yeah, I mean, that does kind of seem, look, if Stronach's going to move it, it does kind of make the logical move to do exactly what you said. Now, again, I'm not getting into whether we should change it or not change it. I don't want to go down that road, but here's what I'll say. We can't run the Belmont 1 week after the Preakness like that. It's just that's just not an option. So they've somehow, some way, these two people or two groups have got to work together on this, or like I said, it'll effectively be over. You know, Triple Crown won't exist. If the Belmont's a week after the Preakness, we don't have a Triple Crown, period.
So we'll see what happens there, but let's jump into some baseball, Aaron. Why not, right? Okay. We got a couple games we'll talk about here before we get to the best bets. There's going to be a lot of Del Mar on this show. Race of the day coming from Del Mar, and both Aaron and I's best bets coming from Del Mar as well. So a lot of Del Mar talk coming up here, but we'll kick it off with the Astros laying 120, headed in to take on the O's. Total sitting here at 9.5. Dean Kramer taking on Hunter Brown for the Astros. This one was interesting to me. I think this game's actually bettable. Did you do anything with this?
I do think this is a bettable game, and I would take the Orioles here at the plus money. Yeah, look, Dean Kramer is a guy who is up and down, but when he pitches well, they're pretty tough. I don't love Hunter Brown, so I think this is a even pitching matchup. This has been a really even series. These are two really good teams. This could be a playoff series that we're going to be looking at here in a few weeks, I guess now. But yeah, I took the Orioles. I think at home here, early start time, I think that always favors the home team. So give me the Orioles and the plus money.
Not so fast, my friend.
Ooh.
I like the Astros here. I think the Astros have been playing some really good baseball. I believe they're now like 15-7 since the All-Star break. So playing very well since the All-Star break. And Hunter Brown, well, he isn't going to blow you away. Consistently gives up about 2 earned in 6. And if he can do that today against the O's, I think the Astros have a good shot. So I'll lay the 120 with the Astros. You want to do tequila bet here?
No, I do not.
Oh, come on, buddy. I kind of like the under as well, but we'll see what happens there. Astros for me, Orioles for Aaron. Let's jump into a game which not easy to bet on the money line here. The Nationals, it's Patrick Corbin Day. We know how much I like to fade him, but don't really want to fade him against the Phillies, laying the minus 250, total sitting at 9. Aaron, did you do anything with this one?
It's hard to do much, like I said, with this one. Nola on the mound for the Phillies. I don't like playing minus 1.5, but I think that's what you have to do if you're going to take the Phillies in this spot. Look, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We got the no-hitter yesterday from the Phillies, and will the Nationals bounce back? The Nationals were actually playing decent before that game. I did nothing with this one. I think the Phillies win. If you're a guy that likes to lay the 1.5, go ahead and do it with the Phillies, but that's not for me.
I took Phillies team total over 5 here. I feel like their bats are hitting the ball right now, and we know I hate Patrick Corbin. He's a 4+ ERA. He's probably one of the worst consistently starting pitchers in Major League Baseball at this point. So I took a little Phillies over 5. You can get plus 105 out there on the team total. So I thought that was the best route to take.
That makes sense to me. I think with Corbin on the mound, you could kind of count on that. So I get it. That's good. And you don't really want to play the over because Nola, pretty darn good, might shut down the Nationals again today.
Yeah, he has days where he is very, very difficult. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is one of them against the Nationals day. That's why I was leaning on the Phillies here, but I don't fully trust Nola either, especially at minus 250, not looking to lay that much juice. So to me, Phillies team total over the way to go here. All right, let's jump into racing because, look, I've been loving this Del Mar meet. It's been very profitable, very good meet. Consistently big fields. We've got another good day of racing today. You don't have the same headline races that you'll see at Saratoga, but you have full fields up and down. I think there's some prices you can go after. We'll start out with Del Mar race number 6. We're going 5 furlongs on the turf course here. So $50,000 claimer for 3-year-olds. Interesting spot in my mind. Your favorite's going to be Please Focus, 5-2 for Doug O'Neill. Mario Gutierrez rides, getting back to a level where he has won in the past multiple times. So you got to respect the 5-horse Please Focus. I'm a little interested in the 10 Johnny Drama if he draws in. He's also eligible, so we'll see if that happens. Did you put Please Focus on top? Did you go somewhere else?
By the way, Johnny Drama, great name, great show. Love that character. Okay, no, I am going to use Please Focus, but I actually put the number 8 Cruisin' Man on top in this spot. I thought this was an interesting spot. Draws outside of most of the other speed here. Like I said, scratches are going to be kind of important. See if the 10 draws in. But I really believe the 8 gets a good setup here. You look at the previous races from the 8 Cruisin' Man, all pretty competitive against allowance horses. We're getting back on the turf. I think that's his best surface, at least from a number standpoint. It looks to be new trainer today. I don't mind that either. The horse gets claimed at Gulfstream, now comes out to Del Mar for a solid trainer. I think the 8 Cruisin' Man's live in this spot. I think 6-1 makes sense. I think it's more wide open than the 5 here. I think there's a lot of ways you could go. So give me the number 8 Cruisin' Man on top.
I think this is a really interesting horse. Rohan Crichton, interesting trainer at Del Mar. Obviously, generally runs in the southeast here. So a lot of big time Tampa trainer, big time Gulfstream Park trainer. He's a good trainer, solid 16% on the year. Right now he's 0 for 9 at Del Mar, but 2 seconds, 2/3 with these ship and win horses. I wouldn't be shocked if at some point Rohan Crichton starts to turn this around. The trips have been not wonderful, right? I mean, it's just one of those where I just am not all that sure it's his fault that these horses aren't winning right now. I have the 5 on top, but the horse that I'm really interested in here at a little bit of a price is going to be the 2 horse, Acquired Class here. If you go 3 back, breaks the maiden at Santa Anita, runs an 87 buyer there, jumps right into a stakes race where clearly just overmatched in that spot, then stretches out. So you get kind of the muddied form there with the stakes race and the stretch out. Now we're getting back to turf sprinting, which is what I think Acquired Class wants to do here. Peter Miller, obviously pretty good turf sprinting trainer there, 15%. I kind of like the 5-1 price here on the 2 horse.
Well, I mean, if the horse, do you think the horse is actually going to go off at 5-2? That's the question.
The 5 horse?
Yeah.
I think the 5 horse goes off at like 8-5, 7-5.
Okay. So you like, I'm sorry, you like the price on the 2 horse, you said.
Yeah, you're getting 5-1 on the 2.
Gotcha.
And honestly, the other Rohan Crichton, the 4 horse, I think is a little bit interesting as well.
Yeah, rolling on a horse I thought about as well. No, I like your 2. I think that's a pretty good pick as well. I'm with you. I think you could beat this 5. You get around the 5. So with the 2 there, it's definitely a horse that's getting that class relief that you talked about. And look, 3 back looked pretty sharp in a maiden special weight. I think cutting back in that distance is going to help this horse. So I don't think it's a bad pick at all. Like I said, a lot of speed, and this horse could come from out of it.
Yeah, that was the big thing for me. There is a ton of speed. And no one has really passed anybody, which also makes it difficult to handicap a race like this. So you're trying to figure out who has the best staying speed, but it's also 5 furlongs. So it may not matter. It may just be who is the fastest horse, in which case, you got a handful of horses you could kind of pick from there. I'm taking the 5. Give me the 2 as the price here, who I kind of would probably rather bet to win than the 5 horse. Aaron taking the 8 horse in the race of the day there. All right, jump into the best bets here. Talk us through Papa Dude's parlay.
Yeah, I mean, he goes with what has been really working for him and just the logical one, the Braves and the Rays plus 130 here. The Braves on the road in Pittsburgh, obviously a big-time mismatch there. Bryce Elder on the mound for the Braves, so makes total sense to go with them. And then the Rays are at home against the Cardinals, Liberatore versus Luttrell. Look, this is just the Rays should beat the Cardinals. It's that simple. They didn't, though, last night. I do think they bounce back today. So plus 130 here. He's been on fire, my dad. So we'll see if he can keep it going. His best bets have been really, really good. So I like this one. I mean, it's a Papa Dude play. 2 very logical winners.
Yeah, you nail on the head there. It is very much 2 logical winners, right? Elder blew up last time out for Atlanta. You'd expect he's going to pitch better here in this spot against the Pirates. Clearly, there should be a pretty heavy favorite there. And like you said, the Rays facing Liberatore for the Cardinals, who is terrible. Another logical spot there. So you'd expect both of these get it done. Plus 130, not a bad price there. Let's jump over to Magic's best bet of the day. He's taking the Blue Jays, and Alex Manoah here in the first half, taking on the Guardians. Noah Syndergaard has been just absolutely atrocious wherever he has pitched, be it the Dodgers or Cleveland, on the hill for the Guardians today. To me, it makes a ton of sense here. You're obviously hoping that Alex Manoah returns to some of the form we saw right after the rookie ball stint and not what we saw early in the season. He's the big question mark, but you feel like you're going to get runs from Syndergaard.
Syndergaard has just been a mess, and you're right with Manoah. He's definitely been up and down. Like the total is 9 on this game. I kind of thought Magic might go just over on that total as well. I think that makes sense. But look, I like the Blue Jays a lot better than I like the Guardians, so I can't argue with this one. I think that's a pretty good play. I like Magic's play quite a bit. And Dennis made a comment, said the Rays play to their competition. The problem with the Rays is they really aren't as good as what they started. Like that start was an aberration. They're pretty much a 500 baseball team since it. So they're playing to the competition because they're not that much better than their competition. I think that's my theory on it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that they overperformed early in the season, and they've had stretches where they've been very good, but their pitching overall not as good as everyone thinks, especially when you have, McClanahan, who's now on the shelf, not pitching up to the Cy Young level. They don't really have an ace, right? Mm-hmm. And so they don't have that stopper that really can come in and just absolutely shut you down. Before we jump into our 2 best bets of the day, Kevin B asking, what tracks are we previewing on the Magic Mike Show and Blinkers Off? Magic Mike will be doing Del Mar, late pick 5. We're not falling into the $100,000 trap that Saratoga is throwing out there for everybody for a couple reasons. First off, we have absolutely no idea if they're going to be on or off the turf, which is pretty big of a problem this entire meet. And secondly, because Del Mar has been phenomenal, and the card is solid at some Saturday at Del Mar. So we're going Del Mar. Aaron, what are you doing on Blinkers Off?
Yeah, blinkers off. We're going to go with the major stakes action like we do. So we'll do Colonial because they've got the big action going on. Was Arlington Park's big day, and then we'll also do the 4-Star Dave, and then a little bit of Del Mar, whatever big stakes race they have as well. So we'll kind of go all right around the country. And just a real quick, Papa Dude on vacation this week, so no Dudes Who Bet Sports. It'll be back. We're going to do 2 shows next week, so to make up for the one we're going to miss here. But to your point, Papa Dude and I have done pick 5s from Saratoga on 2 straight shows, and all of them got rained off, or both of them got rained off the turf. So it's like, we don't know when Saratoga will be back on the turf, so it's hard to do a show covering a pick 5 when you don't know what surface half the races are going to be run on.
Yeah, and they pulled all the races off the turf today, which I actually think was the correct move, just because of what we saw on Sunday, as well as the fact that it's supposed to start raining some point during the card today. So, it's a lot of bad decisions at Saratoga, also some bad luck because the rain obviously changes that track dynamically or drastically when you do get this much rain over a month. All right, let's jump into our best bets of the day. Let's talk a little bit about Del Mar. We got 2 different horses we like. I'll let you kick it off because you're a chalk-eating weasel, and I'm taking a little bit of a price.
Well, and listen, I just try to pick winners, and I think the 2 in the first race at Del Mar today is going to be, the one you really want to single up here to start this pick 5. So the 2 Pink Ace will be my best bet. I just think this horse will be a decent enough price because there is a Baffert horse in there that's 1 for 1. So I do think that horse takes money. But the number 2 Pink Ace for me makes a ton of sense. Broke the maiden at Oaklawn Park, then went into a tough stakes race in just the second start here, the Valley of the Vapors, which had Merlaza win. But this horse was second, only beaten a length. Now we're getting to Diamato, so we got a trainer change here. I just think this horse is going to be tough, and I think the horse is better than the Baffert runner that's in here, the 3. So give me the 2. I think this is the horse to put on top here to start the Del Mar card off.
I have the 2 in second as a must use. I liked the 6 at a little bit of a price here in this spot. House of Magic second off the layoff for Peter Miller, won in a maiden claimer last time. Going to try and come back and win again this time. I do think the 2 is very, very logical, right? Switching from Laughlin to Diamato, ship and win candidate here. It makes a ton of sense. The 2 gets the job done. I took a little shot with the 6, but I think the 2 of them are going to be very, very tough in this spot. I don't like that Baffert horse, the 3-horse Camp Basher's Candy. I don't love Baffert when he starts in maiden claimers. Generally, that's a sign as to how good the horse is. And so for me, I'm going to try and avoid the 3 here to get through the first leg.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's definitely good you're going to get prices on the other horses like Pink Ace. I don't know what price will be, but that Baffert money is going to come in on that 3. And like I said, if you like the 6, you're probably going to get a much better price than you should.
Yeah. So we'll see what right now 7-1 on the 6, 4-5 on the 2. However, we are still 8 hours from first post, something like that. So I'm guessing the pool isn't very mature at this point. All right, my best bet of the day. I'm going to go to race number 7. I'm going to take a little bit of a price. The 7 horse here, Dancing Cat for me, 4-1 on the morning line. It's the horse first off the layoff for Peter Miller. I thought ran really well, breaking the maiden 2 back at 6 furlongs, stretched out to a mile, didn't handle the distance very well. We're cutting back to 6 furlongs here. Love the fact that we're adding blinkers. Peter Miller over the last 5 years, 21% when adding blinkers with $2.26 ROI. And by the way, this is your controlling speed. Like you go through this race, I really don't see anyone else that can go with Dancing Cat early. And to me, that's a huge huge positive here. On top of that, if you go back and you look at the maiden score, was able to stalk and win too. So it's not like this horse has to have the lead, but should inherit the lead in what is a relatively slow 6 furlong race at Del Mar. So give me 4-1 on the 7 Dancing Cat here. Aaron, do you have this one on top? You go somewhere else.
It's funny. I looked at this race and said one of these Millers are going to win. So I went 1-7. So I did put the 1 on top of the 7, but it was just more of a formality than anything else, right? I don't think, I wouldn't be surprised if either one win. I don't like one that much more of the other, but I did kind of look at it and just say, I think it's as easy as Peter Miller's going to win this race. He's got 2 horses here. One is in front. One comes from out of it a little bit. May the best Miller win. Yeah. Yeah. So I can't sit here and say I hate your pick at all. I love it. So I think it's good. And you're right. I handicapped it the same way. I think the 7 gets out in front. And, I think if the horse is ready to roll, going to be really tough to catch. And the blinkers go on the 7 as well. So we'll see if that makes her even get further ahead in this spot.
Yeah, hopefully it Titans are up late and we're able to get to the wire. It's been tough to go gate to wire at Del Mar, at least more difficult than past years. We saw specifically the outside lane was very, very good first couple weeks of the meet. Gate to wire, inside lane a little bit better last week. We'll see how this week fares. Before we jump through the best bets, Aaron, we got 2 NFL games today. Did you look at either the Texans, Patriots, or the Vikings, Seahawks today?
No, I did not look at them. Hold on. I'm going to pull them up now. I'll give you a pick here. Well, you always know like who's playing and who's not. I never know in these preseason games. So who's got the better rosters today?
I would the one that I like is the Patriots plus the 3.5. Okay. Houston's roster is not very good. They're not going to be starting CJ Stroud in their first preseason game, or at least that's what I've read. And if you look at the backup quarterback comparison, look, remember Zappy and everything that happened with New England last year?
Yep.
That's a pretty good backup that's supposed to get some time today. I'm going to lean toward the team that I believe is going to be better coached, which is the Patriots, and the team that is going to have the better backup, which is the Patriots. So I would lean Patriots over Houston here. I haven't put a bet in yet. I want to wait until I see the actual inactives and actives, but to me, Patriots plus 3.5 looks like the best bet on the card.
I agree with the Zappy situation. He's definitely a better quarterback than most in that second spot. And heck, I thought he was going to keep that job for a while last year. So okay, I'll ride with you on that one. Like I said, I have not dove into those quite yet.
Doc taking Houston here with a little bit of I don't know. I guess Doc laying the 3.5. You don't see Doc take the chalk very often here. One thing I will say about preseason games last year, games that were steamed more than 3 points, the team that got steamed, so that got bet, so you're getting a worse line, was 17-4 last year in the preseason. So the steam was right, and I would assume that is because the steam knew before the announcements of who was in and out. And that team generally has a bigger edge. And you don't see like crazy comebacks in the preseason. You don't see teams really pushing it in the second half to try and cut a 14-point deficit down to the 1 point game and try and go for 2 for the win. So we'll see what happens there in the preseason. I'm probably not getting too aggressive here. Rob likes the over in the Vikings-Seahawks game. That one's going to be interesting too. I'm really interested to see who plays with how young that Seahawks defense is specifically. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, should be a fun night of NFL if you want to watch it. Full preseason week here. We're actually kicking it off and just 4 weeks away from football, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's really, once you get to that halfway point of Saratoga, you're like, oh shit, it's going to be coming up. And it's always weird when you go up for the Travers at Saratoga. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. I said, yeah, the next time I'm at Saratoga for the Travers, they're going to be college football games. There's always like 10 or 12 random college football games. So it's like it's a 6th race. And you're checking on your phone. It's like, really? Northwestern's going to beat Nebraska again on week 0? This is awesome, So you definitely get that feeling of. And then once Travers over, it's like, well, it's now college football week. Like they're going to be playing actual big every school next week. So it's definitely that weird transition. Once they cross the wire in the Travers, it's like, okay, it's football season now.
Yeah, first football game going to be Saturday, August 26th. In the game that's kicking it off, Navy and Notre Dame, which has been interesting in the betting market already. I don't know if you've started to break down college football. This game, every time it touches 21, there is immediately buyback on Navy plus 21. It gets down to minus 20.5, minus 20. The public will bet Notre Dame back up to 21. Immediate buyback at 21 again down. So clearly the sharps, the professional bettors, looking to play plus 21 with Navy, which, when you think about it, I would say this is the best possible time to play Navy. Because if you're in season and you're going through the week to week, you have 1 week to prepare for Navy, which is a triple option offense.
Yep. Just
assignment football, right? If you hold your assignments, you can stop them offensively. Well, you have a full offseason to prepare for this Navy team this time. So to me, it's one of those where I kind of want to take Navy plus 21 when it pops up. But at the same time, I feel like the prep time is an advantage for Notre Dame here.
It's a huge advantage, especially when you're a smaller school and Navy's a bigger deal when you're playing them. It's like, okay, they kind of are a little bit more tuned in, or maybe they've played them before. When these bigger schools play the option offenses, it is a big problem at first. I've seen it over and over and over, especially when it's like a lot of times when the bigger schools are playing Navy, Army, Air Force, like play 4 or 5 conference games, and then it's just kind of weird that one's thrown in there, and it changes everything. And those guys really aren't paying attention when their coaches say, hey, this is going to be tough to stop. They're just kind of looking at those guys and saying, yeah, but we're way faster and way bigger. Well, that's what that offense is kind of created to do is expose those, mismatches. So yeah, for sure. Having that extra time is big. I'll never forget a pretty decent OU team almost got beat by Army in week like 3 or 4 of the season, because they just were not ready for it. So, Notre Dame having time to prepare. Plus, Notre Dame does play those academy schools a little bit more than regulars schools do. So I think that'll play a little bit of a factor in it as well.
Yeah, Kevin B brings up a great point here. Make sure you know the new rules in college football. The clock does not stop after first downs, so it's going to be a running clock, much like the NFL. It's going to cut quite a few plays out, and it's going to force you're going to end up seeing dogs cover, especially big dogs, early. And I would expect under is going to be good too. If you look at the full season prop markets, it's amazing how much Vegas is taking this into account. So if you look at like Caleb Williams or Penix Jr.'s passing yards props, they're 1,000 yards less than what they threw for last year. And a big reason is because of this clock.
So I'll make a comment on this as a guy who goes to college football games 6-7 times, maybe 8 times a year, depending on if we're any good or not. We'll go on the road with OU a little bit. I actually love this rule because the game has really gotten long, and I think this kind of will cut down on the time of the game, and I think that'll help. And look, I think we're playing a high enough level football now where that clock doesn't really need to stop. I think these guys, a lot of them are NFL prospects, so let's go ahead and get them used to how the NFL goes, and the clock doesn't stop on first down. So I like the rule. It's going to be different. I'm telling you, you watch a college game, you get a ball back with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. That's an eternity of time. We make 11 yards. The clock stops. We can go up. We can spike the ball and 1 second runs off the clock, where now it's going to be, 15, 20 seconds, just like you see in the NFL. So it'll be a big adjustment, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that to me is the end of the first half, end of the second half is going to be where you see the biggest difference here, because timeouts have to be used differently in college football now, because you don't get pseudo timeouts for every first down you get. And to be honest, I would expect this is not that big of an issue from an offensive perspective, just because of how fast a lot of these offenses play. I mean, even after a first down, you have a lot of the offenses on the line snapping the ball with 39 seconds left on the play clock. So I would expect you're not going to see any major issues there from the college offenses. I do expect you're going to see some struggles at the end of the halves with clock management from college coaches who have not had to deal with that, because you have these first downs stopping the clock for you.
1 billion% that's going to cause trouble. And, I think if you watch college games, there's a lot of mismanagement of the clock anyway. And now we get this. So it's going to cause a lot of trouble for coaches. There's no doubt. And like I said, those end of game situations are really going to change. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. That's a big difference. If you think about that, you had that, safety net of all we got to do is get a first down right here, and then we can kind of regroup. That's out the window now.
Yeah, you first down, spike the ball. Then you get 3 downs to try and get your first down, spike the ball, 3 downs, and then you're not running that much clock. It's easy to do because you're only losing 1 second. It's going to be real interesting when you have those end of game rush scenarios. Like I said, timeouts are going to be so much more important for college football. This actually puts the focus on college football coaches' clock management, something we have never seen before because of where these timeouts and how these first downs kind of play out. All right, let's jump into the best bets of the day. If you can't tell, Aaron and I both excited for football to kick off here. Jump into the best bets of the day here. Magic going Blue Jays -0.5, -105. Aaron, Delmar, race number 2, horse number 2, 9-5. I'm sorry, race number 1, horse number 2, 9-5 on the morning line. Somich going to race number 7, horse number 7, 4-1 on the morning line. And Papadou taking the Braves Rays parlay +130, up 591 for the year. Hopefully we can keep this puppy rolling. Thank you very much for joining us today on Dudes Who Bet Daily. Good luck with all your bets across the sports and horse racing world. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.